Hello.
Good afternoon all. My name is Pradeep and today we'll start with the discussions of Karnataka budget and economic survey. Okay. So, see, this is a very important topic, as you all know. This will fetch you around 30 questions with regard to paper 2 in prelims. So, this topic, if studied in an inclusive and a comprehensive manner, can be a game changer in your preparation. Okay. So now let's not study budget, economic survey of both center and state in a different way. It is just going to complicate your preparation. Okay. So if you start studying budget of center and state as well as economic surveys of center and state in a separate way, then it is going to create a lot of complications for you. So I have designed the lectures in such a way that we'll study everything in a very comprehensive way. Okay, because they are not completely separate. Okay, so economic survey is nothing but the performance of the schemes in the previous fiscal. So how much funds were allocated, how many objectives were met, what was remaining, so what is the observation. So we'll study all of it in a very comprehensive way. So what we will do also, we will not approach it chapter wise. We will try to take up the economic survey and budget in a theme wise manner. Okay. So according to you, what is the most important theme with regard to the weightage in the prelims? Most important theme. Exactly. The women and child development. It carries a lot of weightage. And after that, there will be agriculture and allied sectors. Even that carries a lot of weightage. And then comes the state GDP, inflation, and other macroeconomic framework. Then comes a lot of other things like industry, infrastructure, environment, like that. There are multiple themes. So what we will do, the most important theme, we'll start with it, then we'll proceed to other themes. Okay, so I'll not be bombarding you with too much of data in the very beginning. First, we'll try to understand the concept. How many schemes are there? What are the beneficiaries? Which ministry? So, what are the exceptions? What can be the traps in those schemes? We'll understand everything. Towards the end of it, I'll give you the data related to it. How much budget is allocated? What is the sharing pattern between center and the state? So, we'll deal with all those things. Okay. So, now we'll start with women and child development. And just a minute. Okay. With regard to women and child development, so what can be the ministries that will be associated with it? What can be the ministries? Ministry of Women and Child Development at both center and state level. And then, okay, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, both center and state. And then, yeah, definitely, Ministry of Education, again, both center and state. Anything else? Food. Yeah. Nourishment, usually the procurement is done by them. Okay. So anything else? How? Social welfare ministry to an extent fine. No, not in terms of education. In terms of education, we already have education ministry. So we'll not mix up unnecessary things. And see, there are few schemes which will promote entrepreneurship among women. Startup India, Udyogini, so like that. So there we will have finance ministry also, because it involves funds. And there is something called as Tri Shakti. So there it involves NABARD. So apart from this, there are not too many things related to women. Okay, majorly any scheme related to women, these things. And there is one simple exception which you have to remember. This is with regard to Stand Up India, and at Karnataka level we have something called as Udyogini, etc. for these schemes, because it requires loans to start the new business ventures and all. Okay, and there is one exception, and that one exception is PM Ujjwala scheme. PM Ujjwala scheme, and this is the only welfare scheme led by Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. It is about giving LPG cylinders. Okay, so this is one simple exceptional case. Okay, so now any scheme related to women, it will be among them. Okay, so now see, we will not take up the schemes related to women in a very random way. What we will do with regard to women, see, in budget they'll mention the schemes or if there is any policies. But if you go through economic survey, there will be mention about some acts also related to women. So our coverage will not only include only the schemes or policies, we'll also try to include any laws or related amendments. Okay, so for example, there is something called as Maternity Benefit Act that was amended recently. Okay, so now there is a mandate on the companies having more than 50 employees to establish a creche center. Okay, like that, there has been a lot of, there is one more law that was amended. So it is about Prevention of Child Marriage Act. So the main provision of the amendment is that they want to bring the minimum marriageable age of girl child to 21 years. Earlier it was 18 years. They want to bring it up to 21 years. Like that, there has been a lot of amendments also mentioned in economic survey. We'll try to cover all those things. And even if there is any gap in economic survey, something that is not explained but just mentioned, I have digged and prepared some data about that also. Okay, so we'll try to keep these lectures as comprehensive as possible. You don't have to worry. And one simple requirement from you is, I want you to be active participants in the class. Whenever I ask you some simple questions. Give it a try. Whether it is right or wrong, we'll see it later. Okay? Your answer need not always be right. And if you are so expert, then you wouldn't be sitting in the class. You don't have to worry about rights and wrongs. You just try to answer it. That's it. Okay? And once we complete a theme, then after every class, towards the end of every class, I'll be putting some MCQs based on the recent patterns, and we'll solve the MCQs together, because learning and application should go hand in hand. Learning is just theory. If you don't know how to apply your knowledge in real time, then all these classes, efforts, it is all like, it amounts to nothing. So we'll try to take it hand in hand, and that might take some 15 to 20 minutes extra, because we'll be solving the questions. Okay, so please bear with that. And then another simple request is, when we are starting the next class, next Sunday, so before the class, I want you to revise whatever was discussed today, because see, we are covering it in a thematic manner. As I told you, we are covering it in a thematic way. So in theme, everything is related to each other. So if you forget one part of the theme which was covered today, come to the next class without revisions, then you might not be able to get that comprehensive idea. Okay, there might be some missing gaps in your understanding, and if these missing gaps are tested in the examination, then you will be at the losing end. So after every session, make sure you revise that day itself. Okay, and before sitting in the next class, try to revise it again. Okay, so in the beginning of every class, I'll be having a quick recap of whatever was covered in the previous session. Understood? So that it will help you to stay connected with what I am trying to discuss, and I expect you also to contribute when I'm recapping it. We'll do it together. Okay, so now, having said all the structure of the class, what are the deliverables, let us get started with the topic. Okay, so firstly, see, and one more simple thing, I believe in writing it down in your own handwriting. Okay, I can simply give you handouts and make you read it, but I don't think it will be much effective, because there are already a number of materials that are available in the market. Okay, so here learning should enter into your mind. It should sit firm in your mind till the examinations are over at least. Okay, so we'll write down everything, and just be the active participant, respond to me, and then I'll allow you the time to write it down. I'll also dictate some things, write it down. Okay, am I clear? Okay, so now see, with regard to women and child development, see, the important idea to remember it is through a life cycle approach. It is through a life cycle approach. What is life cycle approach? So now let's say a girl child who is still in the womb of the mother. Okay, still in the womb, ತಾಯಿಯ ಗರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ, prenatal stage. We'll call that as stage 1. Still in the womb, or in technical terms we can call it as prenatal stage. Okay, don't write, wait, please focus. What is the next stage? You came out of your mother's womb. What is that stage called as? Infancy. Stage 2, infancy. So 0 to 2 years. Okay, and then we have what? Stage 3. Child. Okay, so a kid or a child. So 3 to 6 years till you enter into the first standard. Okay, then we have another stage, stage 4. Okay, so this is, you are in primary school, 6 to 14 years. And then adolescence, Very good. Okay. Then we have adolescent age. Adolescent and I'll try to combine it together. Adolescent and youth. And then stage 6, mid age. So 40 to 60 years. And then we'll have stage 7, old age. So 60 plus, and in terms of Karnataka, it is 65 plus. Okay. So these are some important stages that are related to our life cycle. So we'll divide all the important schemes and provisions related to women as per this cycle. So there are some cycles which are cross-cutting. For example, there is something called as Bhagya Lakshmi scheme. Bhagya Lakshmi. So it is a cross-cutting scheme. Let's say, for example, the registration, it has to happen within 0 to 2 years. And then when the kid reaches 8th standard, there is a checkpoint. And final maturity is at the 18th year. Final maturity is at the 18th year. So like that, there are some cross-cutting themes which we'll understand. But this is a very important theme for you to understand and remember. So to help you remember without much confusions, this is the approach you need to adopt. Okay. So now let us get started with stage 1. Let us get started with stage 1. Okay. So please write this down. Write this down. Make it as just you. Done writing? See, keep this page empty. Keep this page empty. Whatever page you have written this, keep that empty. Because once we complete the entire theme, we'll write down all the schemes related to this. Let's say, for example, there is something called as PCPNDT Act. That is the act related to it. And then there is central level schemes. For example, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. And then there is Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. Then there is Janani Suraksha Yojana, Janani Shishu Suraksha Yojana. Okay. So there are schemes like this from the central level. And with regard to state, there is Matru Chaitanya, Matru Purna, Tai Bhagya plus, Prasuti Araike, like that. So what we will do, once we discuss everything, we'll just fill in the schemes. So this one sheet, if you have it in your hand, it will ensure a very quality effective revision for you. Understood? So that is the purpose. So try to keep this sheet empty. And if you have already written it in a clumsy way, don't worry. Leave one page and rewrite it later. Okay. This page, we will fill it at the end once we are done with the discussion. Fine. So now let's get started with stage 1. So stage 1, it is the prenatal stage, and you all know, even today and earlier, since we are in a patriarchal society, there was difficulty with regard to ensuring the survival of the fetus itself. So there was a evil practice called as female feticide. So to prevent that, there was something called as PCPNDT Act 1996. Okay, PCPNDT Act 1996. So this will prevent the detection of the gender of the fetus. Okay, so they'll use ultrasound scan to detect the gender of the fetus and then try to abort it or do the feticide. So to ensure that the female feticide is prevented, this act was enacted. And this act, see, it was enacted in 94 but came to force in 96. Enacted in 94, came to force in 96. And it was not actually seriously implemented because it was not taken seriously. But when there was 2001 census data and when the sex ratio dropped to around 914, then governments realized it is a serious problem. So the serious implementation is from 2001, 2002. Till then the law was there but not effectively implemented. See, there will be a lot of laws, but implementation is what matters. So this act was seriously implemented after 2001, 2002 when the census data came out. Okay. So now see, this is about the most important component, and it was there in the form of act. But still 2011 data, 2011 census, when it came out, in many parts of the country, the sex ratio had increased, child sex ratio. But it was very bad, especially in the state of Haryana. That is when a new scheme was launched. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. A new scheme was launched. See, the main important issue of this theme is, see, it was through the convergence of, the name itself says, Beti Bachao and then Beti Padhao. Means protect the girl child from getting killed and also educate her. So how many ministries will be engaged here? Ministry of use your common sense. That's all. Ministry of Education, Women and Child Welfare, all these things. So this scheme is in existence since 2015, and in this scheme, see, there are no beneficiaries, there is no benefits that are offered. This is just an awareness scheme. Okay, no benefits or DBT. It is just an awareness campaign. It is just an awareness campaign. Okay. So now earlier there were a lot of schemes with regard to women, and many of them were overlapping, many of them were like that different perspectives, and it was very confusing and clumsy. So the government of India, what they did, in 2022, they classified all the schemes related to women as Mission Shakti. Under Mission Shakti, they created two components. One is Sambal, another one is Samarthya. Sambal and Samarthya. So, Sambal means to take care. So, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao is a part of ensuring the protection of girl child. When she grows up, to empower her, to deliver her the education, skills, funds that are required to begin with the startup, then Samarthya. Sambal means take care when she is in the young age, and then give her Samarthya. So, we'll study about this Mission Shakti a bit later, because this is a very big umbrella scheme. We'll cover everything, then we'll go to that. Okay. So now, did you understand these two things? Why they are in existence? And in Karnataka, there is one scheme almost very similar to this. See, now the girl child is like one important way to protect the girl child is to ensure institutional delivery. It is one important way to protect the girl child as well as to protect the mother, because historically IMR and MMR has been very high in India. So institutional delivery is the solution. So the upcoming things will be mainly related to the institutional delivery. See, first thing, it is about preventing the feticide, and for that there is one law, there is one awareness campaign. Both has to go hand in hand. If you just punish, people might not realize. You have to bring the awareness, you have to transform them. So there are two things. One is PCPNDT Act, and then there is Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, awareness to transform the minds and hearts. Then how to protect the women? Through institutional delivery. Okay. So now next we'll proceed towards the institutional delivery. There we have something called as Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. So it is about celebrating the motherhood. Celebrating the motherhood. So this scheme is under Section 4 of National Food Security Act 2013. Okay. Section 4 of National Food Security Act 2013. And this was something previously it was under ICDS. Now we have created a separate scheme for this, and this is under Ministry of Women and Child Development. 60/40 is the funding pattern, and remember, there will always be a trap. See, there are two types of schemes. Usually, when there is a coordination between center and state, there are usually two types of schemes. One is central sector schemes. Another one is centrally sponsored schemes. Okay. So now see, With regard to the central sector schemes, these are certain very important schemes where center itself contributes 100%. Center only will take care of everything. But whenever it is centrally sponsored schemes, there will always be sharing between center and state. And the general pattern of sharing, it is in different ways. Usually it is 60-40 with regard to states like Karnataka, developed or developing states, and with regard to Northeast and special category states, it is 90:10. Center will take much burden. So I'll give you the list of the central sector schemes later. And apart from the central sector schemes that I give you, any other schemes, it is not completely funded by the center, except for this. So if UPSC tries to fool you, Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana is 100% funded by the center, or any scheme they'll give and say this is 100% funded by the center, then it is wrong. Except for central sector schemes, no schemes are 100% funded by the central government. All other schemes are implemented in partnership with the states. There will be a funding contribution by state as well. It will vary 60-40, 90-10 depending on the type of state it is. Okay, and sometimes it will be even 50-50. I'll show you one or two instances where it is 50-50, but this is usually how it works. Understood? So we are in the very beginning of the learning curve. So I'm telling you, whenever I say some traps, write it down. Okay, so I'll give examples for both of it. You will understand. These are exceptions. There are only 4-5 exceptions, and apart from that, everything is centrally sponsored. And the name is manipulating. The name itself is misleading. When they say centrally sponsored scheme, we think 100% sponsor, center only will give. Name itself is misleading. So that is the reason I am explicitly warning you that whenever there is something called as centrally sponsored, it doesn't mean center sponsored 100%. Any centrally sponsored scheme, it is partner with states. Only central sector schemes, 100% funded by center. Understood? And there are only few schemes of that nature, which the list I will give you. But for now, let's focus on these things. Okay? So these are exceptions. Very important exceptions. Okay? So now, the funding between center and state, 60-40. Now, going forward, see, any state, any scheme that we study, we need to have the objectives, and we also need to have the beneficiaries. So usually with regard to any scheme, the questions are asked on who is implementing it, implementation agency, any ministry or department or any NGO like that, and funding. And apart from that, these are the 4 important things which you should know with regard to every scheme. Understood? If you know these 4 things, there is nothing else using which the examiner can confuse you. So now with regard to this, I told you the main implementing agencies and funding is 60-40. And now, what does the name say to you? Matru Vandana Yojana means celebrating the motherhood. So mother means it can be a pregnant as well as a lactating women. Garbhiniyaru matte Banantiyaru. It can be both. Okay. So now, the objectives is to reduce IMR and MMR and to promote institutional delivery. Okay. and to certain extent to bring down the financial burden on the poor families in case of childbirth. Okay, in case of childbirth. So now, how can you prevent MMR? How can you prevent MMR? Yes, nutritional support to the lactating mother, pregnant and lactating mother. So this scheme, see, what is the minimum age of marriage for girl child in India? 18. So it is applicable only to the mothers who are 19 plus years of age, whose age is 19 or more. Okay. And what is the TFR that we want to achieve? Total fertility rate 2.1. That is the replacement rate which we want to achieve. So if you are giving birth to third child, will it be applicable? No. So the government was to give the benefits for first as well as the second child. First child as well as the second child. And benefit for the second child will be given only if it is a girl child. First child, both boy and girl child, but second child, the benefit will be given only if it is a girl child. So this is an exception. This is an exception. And here 5,000 rupees will be given in 3 installments. 5,000 rupees will be given in 3 installments. And first installment 1K at the time of registration. A pregnant woman goes and registers. Okay. So goes and registers, and then second installment 2,000 rupees will be given post the childbirth. Okay, birth registration. And third installment again 2,000 rupees will be given when the immunization cycle is completed. Immunization cycle is completed. Okay. So for the first child, 5,000 rupees is given. And for the second child, if it is a girl child, 6,000 rupees is given. 6,000 rupees. So out of this, 5K from in the same installment format, and 1K will be from Janani Suraksha Yojana. 1K additional they will get from Janani Suraksha Yojana. Okay. And with regard to the beneficiaries, there is one pattern which you need to remember. Okay. See, this scheme is not applicable to, certain women, like center and state government employees, or anyone already having maternity benefits. Even if a private employee enjoying the maternity benefit, they will not be given this. They cannot be the beneficiaries of this scheme. So now See, the beneficiaries. What is the first condition? Condition number 1, 19 plus years. Below 19, it will not be given because the minimum legal age for marriage is 18 years. So 19 and below, it will not be given. And it is given to how many kids? 2 live births. To the 2 live births. Child should be born and it should survive. Only then it will be applicable. 2 live births. Plus, the funds will be given in how many installments? 3 installments. Okay. And for second child, it is applicable only if it is a girl child. Okay. And it is applicable to pregnant and lactating women. Okay. And it is not applicable to Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. So, Matru Vandana means celebrating motherhood. It is applicable to both pregnant and lactating women. So, which ministry? Ministry of Women and Child Development. Okay. And is it a central sector scheme or centrally sponsored scheme? Centrally sponsored scheme. 60:40. And with regard to the objectives, what is the most important objective? Reduce IMR and MMR. Secondly, promote institutional delivery, because you have to register. You have to complete the immunization cycle. Only then you will receive the complete benefits. And lastly, reduce the financial burden on the poor families. Okay. So now, who are the beneficiaries? Pregnant and lactating women. What is the age limit? 19 plus years. How many kids it is applicable? 2 kids. Second kid, there is a star. What is the condition for the second kid? Girl child. Okay. And who is not applicable? Central and state government employees or any women who is already getting maternity benefits. Okay. So how many installments it will be given? 3 installments. First installment, when you are pregnant and you get registered. Second installment, post childbirth. You go and register your child. Third installment, once the immunization cycle is completed. Okay. These are the important things with regard to Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. So you just have to remember these things. Okay. So now there is no room for any confusion. Fine. Shall we proceed to the next scheme? Is everything clear here? Okay. So now let us move on to Janani Suraksha Yojana. Janani Suraksha Yojana. See, what does the name says? What does the name say? Janani Suraksha means protecting the mother. So how to protect the mother? See, we'll first try to decipher the names. We will see what the name conveys. So the name says protect the mother, protecting the mother. How to protect the mother? Institutional delivery and some financial and nutritional support. See, if you give her the financial support, probably she can arrange nutrition for herself. Okay. So the name itself conveys this. See, this scheme has been in existence since 2005. Earlier, it was the part of National Rural Health Mission. Okay. And National Rural Health Mission is under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Health. Okay. Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. And now, see, this scheme, as we already discussed, it is about providing the financial support. Financial support. And now, this schemes is not uniformly implemented across the nation. It is not uniformly Are you able to understand my handwriting? Is it legible enough? Okay. So it is not uniformly implemented across the states. See, the government, it has divided the states into two categories. One is low performing states. Another one is high performing states. Okay. Low performing states means, so states like Jammu and Kashmir, Orissa, Rajasthan, UP, MP, Bihar, Northeast, etc. High performing states means Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, etc. Okay. So, in low performing states, all women are eligible. All women are eligible. In high performing states, only it is applicable to only SC, ST and BPL, below poverty line women. Okay. Fine. And then, see, the financial help or the financial assistance, we already deduced it. The financial help is different for rural and urban areas. It is different for rural and urban areas. So, for mothers in rural areas, 1.4 thousand is given, and for ASHA workers, also there is incentive. For ASHA workers also there is incentive. In urban areas, 400 rupees. In rural areas, 600 rupees. And in some cases, in the areas which are away from the cities or from the primary healthcare centers, there might be home deliveries. Home deliveries. In that case, ASHA worker will get rupees 500. And similarly, mother will also get rupees 500 if she belongs to BPL category. If she belongs to BPL category. Okay. So if statement says that Janani Suraksha Yojana funds home delivery. Yes. Janani Suraksha Yojana funds home delivery. Okay. 500 rupees. And this is a unique scheme because it will fund both the beneficiary as well as the implementer, that is the ASHA workers. It will also incentivize them to bring more and more women into institutional delivery system. And this component, the home delivery aspect, it was not there in the scheme. It was not at all there in the scheme. But this came into the scheme as per the Supreme Court direction. This was added to the scheme as per Supreme Court's direction. This was not the original component of the scheme. It was added to the scheme as per the direction of the Honorable Supreme Court. Okay. So, this is about Janani Suraksha Yojana. Fine. So, now, as I told you, Janani Suraksha Yojana, you have to remember it is a part of Rural Health Mission, National Urban Health Mission as well as Rural Health Mission. It is under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So, under this, as the name itself says, it is about promoting the institutional delivery as well as financial support. Financial support. Now, under the scheme, there will be beneficiaries. There will be beneficiaries. And beneficiary conditions are not uniformly applied. There are two categories. One is low performing states, another one is high performing states. In low performing states, it is applicable to all women. And in high performing states, it is applicable only to SC, ST and BPL women. Understood? And this is a scheme where not only the mother but also the ASHA worker will receive the benefit. And the benefits will vary from rural to urban area. Rural area 1.4K for mother, 600 rupees for ASHA worker. Urban area 1K for mother and 400 rupees for ASHA worker. And even in case of home delivery, 500 rupees will be given to each. And this provision is as per Supreme Court direction. Understood? It is as per the Supreme Court direction. So this is about Janani Suraksha Yojana. Now there is one more improvised version of this. And that scheme is called as Janani Sishu Suraksha Yojana. See, central sector, I'll tell you, there are only few schemes. Till then, everything that we study is centrally sponsored. Everything is centrally sponsored. Until and unless I give you the list of central sector schemes, assume everything as centrally sponsored. Don't get confused. Everything is centrally sponsored only almost, except for the state-specific schemes. There is Karnataka state-specific schemes called as Matru Purna, Matru Chaitanya. They are run by 100% by states only. Apart from the state-specific schemes, everything else is centrally sponsored. And only with regard to certain schemes, the list I am going to give you, please wait for that. Let's not get confused. Let's not get diverted from what we are discussing. So till then, please wait. Okay. The next thing is Janani Sishu Suraksha Yojana. So as the name itself says, it is about ensuring the protection of both child as well as mother. So it will be about promoting institutional delivery with the intent of reducing both IMR and MMR, and it will also have a component of funding to support the mother. Okay. So, and since it is about issue as well. So here in the list of beneficiaries, it is not just mother now, it is also the infant. Okay. So it is for both pregnant and lactating mother plus infant up to 1 year of age. The main intent here is to reduce out of pocket expenditure of poor families. It is to reduce the out of pocket expenditure of the poor families, because the out of pocket expenditure is a reason why many families fall into the trap of poverty. Many APL families will come to BPL because of health expenditure, out of pocket expenditure, because the insurance penetration in India is very less. Understood? So now, see, this can be one statement and assertion question also. They'll give you the statement, they'll give you the second statement, the first statement. So Janani Shisu Suraksha Yojana is the main intent of the scheme is to reduce the out of pocket expenditure during childbirth. And then they'll give statement 2, which says out of pocket expenditure is the main reason why many APL families become BPL in India. And third statement, they give it is happening mainly because the insurance penetration in India is low. It is happening mainly because the insurance penetration in India is low. Now, which of the following are correct? So they will say statement 1, statement 2 is the reason why the scheme statement 1 was started. Or they'll say statement 1 and 2, they support each other. And statement 3 is also right. Now, they can say this is option 1. So now they will say statement 1 and statement 3, they contradict each other. They will say statement 1 is correct and statement 3 is wrong. Okay. And they might also say statement 1 and 2 are related. They explain the cause effect, and statement 3 is not related. Statement 3 is not related. What would you say? First option. So this is the kind of interlinkages or the broader understanding that they will be testing in the examination. Understood? So you have to understand the concept in a holistic manner to make sure you have top-notch accuracy with regard to answering these kind of questions. Okay? If you just end your knowledge or learning at this point, if you just end it here, then this part will remain incomplete. You should try to understand. That is the reason I am helping you with the deduction of the name itself. See, Janani Sishu Suraksha. Okay? So it means not only the pregnant and lactating woman, but also the infant. Okay? So what might be the intent? To include the infant, to reduce the out of pocket expenditure. Okay? So why out of pocket expenditure should be reduced? Because it is one of the most important reason many APL families fall into the trap of BPL. And when you go to hospital, if you have insurance, let's say, then you need not spend anything out of pocket. Insurance companies will bear it. But sadly in India, the insurance penetration is very low. So these three things, they corroborate each other, they support each other. And see, there is nothing negative here to say this statement contradicts this statement. There is nothing negative here. They are not opposing each other, rather they are supplementing each other. So this broader understanding is very much required, because this year what I expect is the prelims, KAS Prelims 2026 is going to be in the lines of UPSC Prelims 2026, where these kind of questions were very dominant. Okay, the multi-statement questions which demanded multi-layered thinking in real time, it was very important. And the length of the question paper, it has increased to 60 pages. It has increased to 60 pages. Do you know how many pages you get in mains? How many pages you get in mains? 54 to 60 pages only. In optional, it is around 60 pages. So prelims paper also, the length is 60 pages. So reading everything in in 2 hours And these kind of questions, like you cannot easily assume that you'll be able to read everything, understand everything, and deduce the answer within 1 minute. To understand this itself, it will take you more than at least 1 minute. So, first thing what you have to do, you have to learn in a right way. While studying itself, you need to understand in what way the questions can be asked. Secondly, while studying itself, you should learn how to apply your knowledge. And thirdly, you should increase your comprehending ability. See, if you read this statement again and again and again to understand what it is, it will take more than 1 minute in that case itself. So, whenever it is mentioned here, statement 2 corroborates with statement 1, then you feel like, okay, I have to read statement 1 again, I have to check statement 2 again, then it is gone. See, under the pressure of examination, your focus and comprehending ability should be intact, and it comes only with practice. Once you odi, then pulibeku. Are you all comfortable with Kannada? Allal Kannada, okay. So, once you then pull it. So, if you have to read it again and again, means your comprehending ability is poor. You need to work on it. So, how to work and improvise? Read at least one article per day in newspaper and try to write 100-word summary out of it. See, it will not take you more than 20 minutes. It will not take you more than 20 minutes. Okay? One article, whether it is sports or crime or politics, whatever you like, read it and write one page. 100 words, not more than that. If you do that exercise, at least for the next 90 plus days, definitely your comprehending ability is going to improve a lot. Because what happens in prelims is, we get used to reading the pointers. We get used to reading the pointers and memorizing the facts. We don't have that, we have lost that ability of scanning through entire paragraph, getting the most important points out of it. Nowadays, every statement is like a paragraph, 2 or 3 lines. Every statement is like a paragraph. Understood? So, with one reading, you should be able to extract the essence of that paragraph. And it comes only through practice. See, every skill is learned through consistent practice. So, this is a skill which you need to master. Okay? So, do not expect this prelims to be on the lines of previous examinations. 2024 only KPSC showed how the questions can be asked. Okay? They try to follow UPSC 2024 paper. So, 26 also they might be following it on a broader sense. So, it's better for us to be ready before it is already too late. So, first thing, you need to realign your preparation on lines of this. Second thing, develop your comprehending ability. So, read newspaper, at least one article, and while studying itself, think how this question, how this topic can be asked in examination. How the examiner can link this to something else. While studying itself, develop that thought process. So, if you develop this thought process, then you will not be shocked or surprised in the examination hall, because you already expected this. When there is something completely unexpected out of box, then you will be surprised. For you to recover, come back to your senses and start answering, it will take some time. And examination hall is not the place and time where you can afford to be shocked or surprised. So, expect the surprises, and this is the way you need to think to avoid those surprises. Obviously, there will be 10 or 20 questions which will be out of our knowledge. Okay? But apart from that, you have to make sure at least 70 or 80 questions are within your range. So, this is one such simple method. Okay? So, now, what are the benefits in this? What are the benefits in this? The first thing, it is free delivery. Free delivery. Plus, they'll also provide the diet for 3 to 7 days after the childbirth. Okay? And also, they'll provide free drugs and also blood if it is needed. And they'll also provide any diagnostics for sick infant if it is needed. Okay? It is also covering the sick infant. Any diagnostics for sick infant is also covered here. Okay? So now see this scheme, there is no differentiation between APL and BPL. This scheme there is no differentiation. Earlier there was. Okay. So now this is all about the center schemes with regard to stage 1. Okay. So now we'll move on to the state schemes. The state schemes. Now let us try to recall whatever we studied. And there is one more small scheme, sorry, MA. It is called as Mother's Absolute Affection. So the main objective of this scheme is to promote breastfeeding. And this scheme says up to 6 months, it should be exclusively the breastfeeding, and post 6 months, it can be breastfeeding plus any nutritional support. So mother's absolute affection. Okay. So this is all we studied under the central schemes, and there is one umbrella scheme, we'll come to it. Okay. So now with regard to state schemes, there is something called as Prasuti RIK. So this scheme was completely state funded, and this was applicable to SC, ST, BPL women. SC, ST women got 3K under this scheme, and BPL women got 2000 rupees benefit under this scheme. And this money was transferred in 2 installments, and the fund was given only for the institutional delivery at the government hospitals This is the most important thing. Earlier, Matru Vandana, you saw the limit is only 2 childs. Prasuti RIK, no limits. Understood? So, fine. And after Prasuti RIK, in 2007, there was something, later, there was something called as Tai Bhagya. Okay. So after Prasuti Araike, there was Tayi Bhagya. And so this Tayi Bhagya scheme, it is very important because it is something very similar to Janani Suraksha Yojana. Janani Suraksha Yojana. Okay. So here also there is no limit on the child birth because almost 20 years ago we had not taken the population control so seriously probably. So even if it is for third child or fourth child, you can avail the benefits. And again, this scheme, there was fund benefits given to ST women as well as BPL women, SC/ST women and BPL women. And okay, so now this scheme again, it is to promote institutional delivery. Earlier, Prasuti Araike was already there. So again, a similar scheme was enacted. The reason is now the same benefits you can avail the cashless delivery at empaneled private hospitals. Government is going to list some private hospitals also where the government is not present or government infrastructure is less. In such areas, you can go to the private hospitals which are accepted by the government, approved by the government. There also you can avail the benefits. So there also you are going to get the cashless delivery. And for sake of identity, they are going to give you one card called as Tayi card. This is for identity. And now there was question, sir, what if in my area there is no empaneled private hospital also, there is no government hospital also, there is no empaneled private hospital also, what about us? So for them, the government came up with something called as Tayi Bhagya Plus. Okay, so you can call this as centrally sponsored scheme, center state both. Okay, so now Tayi Bhagya Plus. So Tayi Bhagya Plus, you can avail the delivery even in non-empaneled private hospitals. Here only empaneled, and here even in non-empaneled private hospitals. Government will directly pay the money to the hospital, not to you. So then the 3K would also be given and also because it is the government's failure for not establishing the hospital in your area. Okay, but here in non-empaneled private hospitals, the fund is very limited. The benefit is just 1K, irrespective of SC/ST or BPL women. The benefit is just 1K. ಯಾವುದು ಪ್ರಸೂತಿ ಆರೈಕೆ 2006, ಇದು 2009-10. 2006, 2009, 2010. Sarina? Everything under Ministry of Women and Child Development. Okay. Fine. Now, so once the delivery happens, then the Karnataka state government came up with something very innovative. It was not there in any part of India. It is called as Modilu kit. Modilu kit. So, there is no cash. There will be, it is in kind. They'll give 1,500,000 worth to mother. It involves sanitary napkins. Okay. So, all these things. Modilu kit. This is something innovative. So, this is only non-cash. Karnataka program in stage 1. All other things as the cash component. This is the only non-cash thing. Okay. See, madam, both are centrally sponsored. Central will give the funds. That is the reason I told. 100% state. Prasuti RIK. All are same. Okay. To replace Prasuti RIK, there was Thai Bhagya. And in Thai Bhagya, see, Prasuti RIK only in government hospitals. Thai Bhagya, private empaneled hospitals. Thai Bhagya plus non-empaneled private hospitals. In non-empaneled hospitals, government might have to pay a lot of money. So government reduced the benefit to mother to just 1,000. Understood? Because government has to contribute to private hospital, they reduce the benefit to just 1,000. Okay? So that is the only difference. See, we'll draw the chart only. Don't worry. So, Prasuti RIK, Thai Bhagya, Thai Bhagya plus. Okay? This is under NRHM. So it is CSS. Okay? And then this is only in government hospitals. This is in government plus empaneled private hospitals. And this one in also in non-empaneled private hospitals. So, where to avail this, you got to know. And now, what are the benefits and who are the beneficiaries? SC and ST women 3K, BPL women 2K, plus there will be cashless delivery. Same thing, but here cash incentive is just 1K. Understood? This is the thing. Fine. Any further confusions with regard to this? Ella clear aita? Fine. See, it is a convergence of two ministries. Both of them convergence of two ministries. See, earlier only I told you. Except for Matruvandana, everything, almost everything will be the convergence of different ministries. Understood? Almost everything is convergence of different ministries. Different stages means different ministries. Okay. Either it will be, that is the reason we already listed the ministries that can be the part of the women related schemes. This is the reason we listed. Okay. Towards the end, complete this list. PM Matruvandana. Only exclusive things. Write it down there. Okay. So, Janani Suraksha Yojana. Exclusive. Fill it up there. So that if there is any confusion, it will all be sorted out. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಫಿಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಬಿಡಿ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್. ಸೊ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ತ್ರೀ, ಬೇಟಿ ಬಚಾವ್ ಬೇಟಿ ಪಡಾವ್. Understood? It includes all three ministries, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. So like that. So you have to create categories like that. That was the purpose of giving these ministries. Fine. Now let us proceed to other thing. And there is one very important detail. The funds here will be given in 2 installments. The fund here will be given in 2 installments. Pregnancy 2nd trimester, post delivery 2nd trimester. Okay, between 3 to 6 months. It will be given in 2 installments. 2nd trimester as a pregnant, 2nd trimester as a lactating woman. So even Prasuti IRIK, this is applicable. The funds will be given in 2 installments. Okay. Modulo kit is also over. So now write down Matrupurna. Matrupurna. Okay. So what does the name signify? Annapurna. So it is about nutrition support mainly. This is to reduce the MMR, and it mainly involves the nutrition support component. Okay. So the beneficiaries. So any woman as a pregnant for 9 months also, she can avail the benefits, and post delivery she can avail the benefits up to 6 months. And what she can get? She can get hot cooked meals as well as iron and folic acid tablets, hot cooked meals, iron and folic acid tablets. Okay. So it will be given to her free at Anganwadi centers. So value of these meals will be Okay, Anganwadi centers. So this is something very important because it is mentioned in Karnataka Economic Survey that this scheme is mainly responsible for reducing IMR and MMR in Karnataka. This scheme has a mention in Economic Survey. Economic Survey contributes that this scheme is the main reason for the decline in IMR and MMR in Karnataka. Okay, and then we have another important scheme called as Matru Chaitanya. Matru Chaitanya. Okay, so the main intent of this scheme is to provide mental health support, counseling, all those things to both pregnant and lactating mothers. To both pregnant and lactating mothers. And Karnataka is the first state in India to come up with this kind of program. And the services here are delivered at Anganwadi centers. The doctors, the counselors will come to Anganwadi center. Pregnant and lactating women has to go to the Anganwadi center to avail the benefits under this scheme. Okay, fine. So now I'll tell you a little about the very important scheme, that is the Mission Shakti. The Mission Shakti. Okay. So this is now an umbrella scheme. Means under this there will be a lot of schemes. Okay. Under this there is an element called as Sambal, means to take care. And there is another element called as Samarthya, means to empower. And there were other two things which are discontinued. I'll give it to you. But Sambal is mainly about safety and security of women. And under this, there are things like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, one-stop center like Saki. And then there is provision for Women Helpline 181. Okay. There is also something called as Nari Adalat. Nari Adalat. It is a alternative dispute resolution system. and is funded by Nirbhaya funds to the extent of 100%, and the judge here will be called as Mukhya Nyayasaki. Mukhya Nyayasaki. And every case, the tenure for her is 6 months. Okay. And there is a mission called as Samarthya. Okay. So earlier there were two schemes called as and both these schemes are merged to form Shakti Sadan. So it is kind of a hostel, a place for the women. Okay. And then there is something called as Saki Nivas. It is nothing but working women hostel. Okay. And then there is something called as PM Palana. Earlier it was called as National Creche Scheme. And then there is, we wrote it down earlier, Matru Vandana Yojana. Okay. See, under this scheme, there were under this there were two more components. Okay. That is Mahila Shakti Kendra as well as Mahila Police Volunteers. Now they are not under this scheme, but they are continued in 13 different states under different schemes separately. They are not under this scheme anymore, discontinued under this scheme, but they are continued in different states under different names. Mahila Shakti Kendras, a discussion forum, meeting place for women, all these things. And then Mahila Police Volunteers to prevent eve teasing, so all those things. So under this scheme it was removed, but still it is continuing in different states under different names. Okay. So this is one important umbrella scheme which you need to remember. And this scheme, it is got ₹21,000 crore funding. Okay. And the implementation period is the 15th FC period. This is the implementation period for this scheme. So it is about what do you say? Umbrella scheme under Ministry of Women and Child Development. Is an integrated women development scheme. Okay. So This is something that can be asked. Okay. Now we'll have a quick revision of whatever we studied under the first stage. So, center wise, we already know. State wise, Prasuti RAK, Tai Bhagya plus. And when a Tai is coming out of hospital, she will be given Madilu kit. Okay. And then Matrupurna, nutrition support to both pregnant and lactating women. And for any mental issues, there is something called as Matru Chaitanya. Okay. So these are the things. And overall umbrella scheme is Mission Shakti. Under Mission Shakti, two things, Sambal as well as Samarthya. Two things that are removed but continue separately, MSK, Mahila Shakti Kendra, as well as Mahila Police Volunteers. They are continued separately. Now, I'll give you 2 minutes of time. Go through all the schemes, and once you are done, we'll proceed with the stage 2. We are done with the stage 1, both center and state, and everything that is mentioned in economic survey as well as budget as well as the recent policy reforms is there in your notes. Okay. Write down this table. Write down this table. You might get confused. So one simple way to remember is done. So you have to memorize this. There is no other way. Okay. There is no other way for this. You have to memorize this. Only through repeated revisions you can remember this. So one simple way is almost into 5.1x. That's all. 5.16 something it will come, but almost 5.1x. So Karnataka is always lower than whatever IMR and MMR is there at the national level. Okay. So Kerala is much more lower than Karnataka. The southern states, we do better with regard to the social indicators. This is an example. Okay. So these are some important data points which you have to remember. And now proceeding forward into the states 2. And stage 2 is about infancy. 0 to 2 years. 0 to 2 years. So now here, first again, we will try to study the central schemes, then we'll proceed forward to the state schemes. Fine. Or do you want a break? Short break? Fine. Okay. So now, first, we'll have to talk about Mission Indradhanush. Mission Indradhanush. Sorry. ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಉಸಿರಾಡೋಕೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay. Mission Indradhanush. See, this scheme is a very important scheme which was started by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in 2014. So it is about ensuring universal immunization of children in India, and one simple way to remember all the disease here is hepatitis B, measles, diphtheria, polio, pertussis, tuberculosis, tetanus. So, since there are 7 diseases, okay, you have to remember all 7 of them. This is first Mission Indradhanush version 1. So now there has been lot of diseases, lot of versions. Now we have intensified Mission Indradhanush 5.0. So 1.0, 2.0, everything has been done. Now we are in intensified Mission Indradhanush 5.0. Okay. So under this intensified Mission Indradhanush, it tries to cover all kids below 2 years plus lactating mothers. Earlier Mission Indradhanush only took care of children. Now it will also include, sorry, not the lactating mothers, the pregnant mothers. The pregnant women. Okay. And then it is applicable across all districts. So initially it was there only in some districts. Okay. So now it is now spread across all the districts, and they are trying to catch up with all the children in this age group. Initially it was only up to 2 years. Now it is 2 to 5 years, covering 12 diseases. Oh, sorry. Covering up to 12 diseases. Okay. So it also has an element to catch up with those who missed immunization under imagine if you had not taken the polio drops, if you have missed some vaccination during your childhood under universal immunization program. Before Mission Indradhanush, there was universal immunization program. If anybody has missed that, then Mission Indradhanush also tries to target them and give them whatever immunization that is needed. So it is also there. Okay, whoever had dropped out, whoever could not avail the immunization back then, they'll also be covered. If you have missed any vaccination, you can also go and get it done. Fine. So that is the intent. And then there is something called as राष्ट्रीय बाल स्वास्थ्य कार्यक्रम. So it is about free health screening for all children between first standard to 12th standard in government and government aided schools. So health screening, health checkup. They'll come test your height, weight. Okay. They'll ask if you have any serious ailments and all. They'll try to address it. So it is part of intensified Mission Indradhanush, and in Karnataka 90 lakh children are screened. 90 lakh children are screened. And usually Anganwadi centers will be the screening centers. Anganwadi centers will be the screening centers. Okay. So if you have studied in government school or government aided school, you would have experienced this. So once in a year, a doctor will come, check your height, weight, ask if you have any serious health problems. There wouldn't be much actions further, even if you told I had a serious problem, but at least they will ask. So there will be screening. So it is under intensified mission Indradhanush. Okay, Rashtriya Bala Swasthya Karyakrama. And private schools, not eligible now. Private unaided ones and all, they are not eligible. Okay, and then see there is one very big umbrella scheme called as ICDS. ICDS, Integrated Child Development Scheme. Okay, so this was something that started during Indira Gandhi era, only in some districts, and by 2000 it had 100% coverage of entire nation. Started in only some districts where there were a lot of high IMR, MMR. It started there, but later by 2000 it was spread to entire nation, 100%. Okay, and then this is also a scheme under, and the funding pattern is either 60-40 for other states. This is for special category states. Special category states. Okay, so here who are the target? Target is under this pregnant. See, basically ICDS promotes the establishment of Anganwadi centers, and all services delivered through Anganwadi centers, they are very important. For example, last time you saw Matrupurna scheme, cooked meal to the pregnant and lactating women. Where it was delivered? Anganwadi center. Here, the screening of children, the health screening, where it is happening? Anganwadi centers. So the Anganwadi centers, the concept of Anganwadi centers became very popular under this scheme, ICDS. This is what led to establishment of Anganwadi centers all across the country. Initially started in some districts. By 2000 it spread to entire nation. So Anganwadis came up throughout India. And in Karnataka, there is around 69,700 something Anganwadi centers. 69,663. 69,663, the exact number. But you can say almost 70,000 are there. Okay. So pregnant and lactating mothers. So children up to 6 years, preschool and all. And also even some schemes related to adolescent girls like Sabla, etc. is delivered through Anganwadi centers. Okay. So ICDS is a very big umbrella schemes, and later after ICDS there was something called as National Nutrition Mission and Poshan Abhiyan, National Nutrition Mission and Poshan Abhiyan. So it is there since 2018, and the name itself says what is the intent to provide the nutrition. Who requires the nutrition? Pregnant and lactating women as well as the infants. So that is the purpose, the nutrition. So one very important nutrition that is required is for pregnant and lactating women, iron and folic acid tablets or syrup that will be provided. Okay, and that is to reduce the extent of anemia to less than 3%. So presently, more than 50% of women, to be specific, 57% of women in India suffer from anemia, shortage of blood. So the intent of this scheme is to reduce it to less than 3%. Intent is very huge. But 57% of women in India suffer from anemia. So this is the thing. And then under this scheme, so they want to reduce the stunting of children. They want to reduce the stunting of children. And the core philosophy is to provide the first 1,000-day care to the children. This is the core philosophy. The core philosophy is to provide first 1,000-day care. Okay. So child stunting, they want to reduce it to below 25%. And as per NFHS 4 survey, this is around 38.4%. They want to bring it down to below 25%. And to see whether the scheme is performing or not, they have a web portal called as Poshan Tracker, and they also have role models. Swasth Bharat Preraks, influencers or role models, one per district. Will be the role model for the children and youth in that district. Okay, Swasth Bharat Preraks. And now see, this scheme also had some limitations. This scheme had some limitations, and therefore, what they did, they came up with something called as mission. Sorry, they came up with something called as Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan 2.0. This is the latest version of it. This is the latest version. Mission Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan 2.0. Now see, the timeline is like this. The timeline is like this. ICDS. This was there. Okay. And after this, sorry, till 2018, it was there. And after this, there was Poshan Abhiyan since 2018. And after this, we have Mission Saksham Anganwadi and Portion 2.0. Okay. And the thing is, all of them are under fine. So again, this will also cover Anganwadi services, and then the services for pregnant and lactating women, and also it will include the adolescent girls. The adolescent girls. So any Anganwadi, they want to provide all care to the children less than 6 years of age, and here it was under the scheme for children, it was less than 4 years. Now under portion 2.0, it is less than 6 years. It is less than 6 years. That is the difference. The bracket is now expanded. Okay. The main difference. And then for pregnant and lactating women, Pradhan Mantri Matru Vanjana Yojana, all those things. And for adolescent girls, Rajiv Gandhi Sabla, all these things will be delivered through this umbrella scheme, Mission Saksham Anganwadi. Okay. And now, see, in Karnataka, there is a new development. These Anganwadis are being transformed into Montessori schools, preschools. Okay. This is the latest development in Karnataka. Almost 6,000 schools are being transformed. Okay. As Montessori schools. And see, this scheme also provides special focus on Northeast as well as aspirational districts in Karnataka. They assume some importance. Okay. Okay. And now, for both this category, they'll provide IFA, iron and folic acid tablets or syrups. Iron and folic acid tablets and syrups to help the women and adolescent girls fight with anemia. And for this specific thing in Karnataka, there is a scheme called as Anemia Mukt Paustik Karnataka scheme. Anemia Mukt Paustik Karnataka scheme since 2013. And under this scheme, again, iron and folic acid syrup will be given to under 5 children in Anganwadi itself. Okay. And Karnataka Economic Survey says Karnataka has achieved 65% of targets. And this is part of Rashtriya Anemia Mukt program. National Anemia Mukt Bharat. Okay. And then there is something very important which was asked in the previous year. That is done with this. Fine. See, there is only cosmetic difference here. ICDS, it was providing Anganwadi services earlier, only the early childhood care, and later they started adding a lot of responsibilities to it. For example, we discussed no Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana, Janani Suraksha Yojana, Janani Shishu Suraksha Yojana. All these things started getting added. It was all delivered through Anganwadi centers only. Okay. So the mothers have to get connected with Asha worker. Asha worker will help her in the registration, and any diet has to be provided. It will provide it through Anganwadi centers. A lot of responsibilities got added. So a renewed emphasis was needed. Therefore, the government in 2018, they came up with Poshan Abhiyan. So here again, the same things, ensuring an effective delivery of Anganwadi services, as well as Anganwadi services means primarily they'll take care of preschool, formal preschool education. Okay, children up to 6 years can go and get educated there. But here, under Poshan Abhiyan, they covered only the children up to 4 years. It covered only the children up to 4 years. So that is the expansion here. Children up to 6 years, Poshan 2.0. And scope is expanded. And here, there is one more very important thing which you need to note down. That is funds to plug the infrastructure gaps. So they will provide building funds for Anganwadi centers, because thousands of Anganwadi centers are in private buildings. They are functioning through private buildings, and many of them, they are not in good conditions. So therefore, it will also try to provide funds to plug the infrastructure gaps, because Anganwadis has to fulfill so many responsibilities. So the infrastructure there should be sufficient to deliver all these services. Okay, and Asha workers, they are given the highest allowance in entire India, that is in Karnataka. Asha workers get the highest incentive in Karnataka when compared to all other states. So that is to encourage their performance through Anganwadi centers. Okay, so this is something. And then there is one more very important scheme which was asked in the previous year. That is this is a PYQ, Kshetra scheme. It is there since 2013, and this is something delivered in collaboration with Karnataka Milk Federation. This is something delivered in collaboration with Karnataka Milk Federation. So it is delivered in school. Therefore, there is Department of Education, and also it is delivered to children. Therefore, there is also coordination with Ministry of Women and Child Affairs. Okay, so it is delivered at 2 levels. One at Anganwadi centers, another one at school level. At Anganwadi centers, it will cover the children between 6 months to 6 years. Okay, and in school, in government as well as the government aided schools, it will cover the children from 1st to 10th standard. 1st to 10th standard. Okay, so in Anganwadi centers, they will provide they will provide 150 ml milk for 6 days in a week for normal children and 200 ml for underweight children. 200 ml for underweight children. So, and at school level, they'll provide 18 gram milk powder per child for 5 days per week. Okay. Earlier, for these children, they used to provide the skimmed milk, and now they were providing the whole milk. Okay. See, Anganwadi children, the real milk is given. School children, milk powder is given, where they have to mix it with water and consume. Okay. And then this program has got International Dairy Federation Award. International Dairy Federation Award for innovation in school milk program. For innovation in school milk program. And this is 100% state funded. It is not under okay. See, under Poshan also there is two things. One is Poshan Abhiyan. Whatever we are talking now, it is about Poshan Abhiyan. Abhiyan means awareness. Okay. There is also something called as Pradhan Mantri Poshan Scheme. Understood? We'll also reach that. So this is about Poshan Abhiyan, and it is not under Poshan Abhiyan. Okay. So this is 100% funded by the state government, Karnataka government. It is not under anything. Okay. So now we'll try to sum up everything that we studied under the stage of infancy. The first thing, ICDS to Poshan 2.0. So and before this, we studied about Mission Indradhanush, and before Indradhanush, there was something called as Universal Immunization Program 1985. So now we have intensified Mission Indradhanush 5.0. Okay. We studied all these things. Then we also studied about Rashtriya Bala Swasthya Karyakram, and then under Karnataka we studied Anemia Mukt Karnataka scheme, as well as we also studied Ksheerabhagya program. In the next stage, we will also see ICDS. Under ICDS, there will be midday meals, Madhyanada Visi Uta. We will also see that. So that is also one of the most important, that was one of the most important component of ICDS. We'll try to cover it in the next stage. Okay. And then see, with regard to midday meals, it was Madras Corporation. They started the initiative of midday meals in 1925. So Madras, they are the pioneers. Madras province during British times, they started this initiative in 1925. If you wish to write it down, this is something which can be asked. This is something which can be asked. Write it down. And under 5 mortality rate, also note it down. Okay. And then the recent scheme that we have is we'll have to go to the stage 3. Under stage 3, we'll cover this age gap. Preschool. As I told you earlier, now they want to transform Anganwadi center as a, earlier Anganwadi center was nothing but a food and nutrition delivery centers. Now they want to make it a quality education hub for preschools. So the state government of Karnataka, they want to transform Anganwadi centers into Montessori's. Okay, which will provide, and in Karnataka Montessori schools, see, this is something very important because this is mentioned in budget as well as economic survey both. Okay, so this is something very important. As I told you, there are roughly around 70,000 Anganwadi centers. Roughly around 70,000 Anganwadi centers. And among 70,000 Anganwadi centers, 22,000 doesn't have their own building. 22,000 doesn't have their own building. You can say roughly 1/3 of Anganwadi centers in Karnataka does not have their own buildings. Okay. So now the challenge is, without having this, how can they run Montessori's? So the Karnataka government, it has given 65 crore fund for upgrading the infrastructure of Anganwadis. Okay. So, and in phase 1 and in the first phase, 9,000 Anganwadi centers have been upgraded. 9,000 Anganwadi centers have been upgraded. Okay. So, here they'll provide preschool services, kindergarten services, as well as the bilingual education. Preschool, kindergarten, as well as bilingual education centers. Okay. So there to promote more students to enroll, they'll provide free uniform, bags, books, shoes, etc. Okay. So this is completely 100% funded by state government and no center role in it. There is no role of center in this. Okay. So this is something, as I told you, mentioned in both budget plus economic survey of Karnataka. So this can be very important. So remember this. So this is not something, this is not under portion 2.0. This is not related to it because there is no center's role in this. It is completely 100% state initiative. So this is where they can confuse you. Chirabhagya 100% state and Karnataka Montessori schools 100% state. So what examiner can do? The first statement he will give about the Poshan Abhiyan. How Poshan 2.0 will provide for infrastructure funding, all these things. Second statement, he will mention the Karnataka Montessori school program is also funded under Poshan 2.0. Third point, he will mention that using that funds, almost 9,000 Anganwadi centers have been upgraded in Karnataka. So there is no contradictions here. There is only one factual misinformation, that is that this scheme is linked to Poshan Abhiyan. So this is mutually exclusive. It is not at all linked. Even Shirabhagya scheme, they can do the same trick to you. Okay, they can say this is funded under Poshan Abhiyan, but it is completely 100% funded by the state government, and this scheme is implemented in collaboration with KMF. And these data, this is what they might test you. Okay, so for Anganwadi, how much, and for school, how much. So these data you will have to memorize, because what KPSC can do, see, UPSC, they know how to play with numbers. There is a pattern in UPSC, because if they give numbers, at least 2/3 of the times the numbers are wrong in UPSC. But in KPSC, 80% of times the numbers are right. So if you are using the UPSC trick blindly here, you might falter, because KPSC gives most of the time correct numbers. So that 20% when they are doing wrong, we'll have to find that. And it is not so easy, because you have to remember so many numbers. Especially in economic survey and budget itself, there are hundreds of numbers which you have to remember. And to remember this, what you have to do? You have to practice again and again. So you have to start with the overall budget of gender budget of Karnataka. How much? Almost 95,000 crores. 95,000 crores. For Government of India, 5 lakh crores. So as I told you, at least into 5.1 times. Okay. And IMR, MMR, you have to remember. IMR and MMR. And for India, IMR 25, Karnataka 19. India, MMR 88, Karnataka 63. Understood? You have to remember these facts. And see, for every scheme, you don't have to remember the ministry. There are only some exceptions. For that, you'll have to remember. Because most of schemes under women and child development, they are implemented in confluence of different ministries. So there is not many exclusive schemes. So don't have to worry about the ministries here. And some schemes here, they are not centrally sponsored. They are 100% state funded schemes. So you have to remember those kind of schemes. Shirabhagya, Karnataka Montessori program. So whatever is 100% state funded, Matru Purna. So those schemes are very, very important. because there they can trap you. So in first and second statement, they can give you something that is related to centrally sponsored scheme. Third statement, they can say this scheme of Karnataka, like let's say for example, Kshira Bhagya of Karnataka is funded by center under portion 2.0, 60-40 ratio to brainwash. They'll give, Kshira Bhagya is also funded in 60-40 ratio between center and state. So what we will think? If you don't know if it is completely under state, then we might go wrong because the statements will be very convincing. So first statement, they will try to condition your mind. They'll put the context. First statement, usually it will be right. Let's say for example, they'll say, so under portion 2.0, the aim is to ensure 1,000 days. The core philosophy is to provide 1,000 days care to the children. 1,000 days care. And second statement they will give, the aim is to strengthen the infrastructure of Anganwadi centers. Okay. So to provide effective deliveries for pregnant and lactating women, for preschool children, as well as the adolescent girls. So this is also right. Third statement, they will say, second statement, they will broadly set the context. Nutritional support to pregnant and lactating women, nutritional support to children. They'll make it appear again and again so that your mind is conditioned. Third statement, they'll give Kshira Bhagya, the nutritional support scheme, is also implemented under Poshan Abhiyan. It is a centrally sponsored scheme where the resources are shared in 60-40 ratio. So if you look first and the second statement, will already be conditioned, and third statement will completely fool you. And here, to make you convinced, they'll put statements like 60-40 ratio, something which you think is right. 60-40 ratio in Karnataka, in 90-10 ratio in special category states. So that is how it is implemented. Now you already know it. So they'll put something that you already know to convince you. So this is something which I have already told you. It is true also. They'll put it to convince you. One wrong information, comma, right information. So when you look at the second part, it will look very convincing, not confusing. First part will be wrong. So that is how they mix and they'll try to fool you. So this has been something in the question architecture of UPSC since last 3 to 4 years. They have been consistently using this trick. Okay. See, to get the accurate answers, the first thing what you have to do is you have to understand the question architecture. So what kind of statements they are framing? Why this is the first statement? Why this is the second statement? What if you reverse the statement? Why the statement is wrong? So you have to understand the question architecture. So why the statement is drafted in this particular way only? Understood? So if you understand what is the kind of sentence he is framing and what is the difference between the right statement and the wrong statement. Say wrong statements, usually UPSC will try to use more adjectives. What is adjective? They'll try to say rapidly, strongly. So these are the words which can convince you. Exponentially. So to convince you, they'll try to use these kind of keywords. Okay. Venezuela was experiencing a rapid economic growth or a rapid economic recovery in the recent times. Rapid economic recovery. So it is a false. So sometimes they'll use the adjectives to fool you. Sometimes they'll mix up. As I told you, first half of the statement will be wrong, second half of the statement will be right. They'll mix it up. Contradictions will be there. So if you just know the second part, you feel it is right. And first part is where the trap will lie. And the question architecture will be like, the statement 1, absolutely right. Statement 2, it will also be right. Statement 3, these two things are used to condition your mind. And then they'll give a statement where first part is wrong, second part is right. So in flow, we don't get to check this again and again. Because like, as I told you, the length of the question paper has increased. So around 60 papers you have to read and 100 questions. And every question is like a mini essay. Okay. So then under the pressure of the examination, you are prone to commit these kind of mistakes if you are not aware of these kind of traps. Okay. So now this is one thing, and take it on the next scheme. Okay. The last one, please write down. Please write down. At the central level, there was something called as National Crèche Scheme, and now it is renamed as PM Palana Yojana. Okay. PM Palana Yojana. So, see, this program, it is designed by center and implementation by state, and usually it is implemented through NGOs. Usually it is implemented through NGOs. And again, the funding pattern 60:40 or 90:10, depending on the states. Okay. So this is mainly for the children between 6 months to 6 years of age. Okay. And whose mother is employed either for more than 15 days per month or more than 6 months per year. Okay, fine. And just a minute. ಇದು ವಾಟರ್ ಬಾಟಲ್ ಇದೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು. ವಾಶ್ರೂಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ? ಗ್ರೌಂಡ್ ಫ್ಲೋರ್. Okay. So let me repeat. See, under Karnataka Maternity Benefit Amendment Act, there is a rule set that any establishment with more than 50 employees should have a working creche. And usually it is implemented through some NGOs only. And this is a law that is set by the Labour Ministry, but it is totally unrelated to this scheme. So it is totally unrelated to this scheme. Okay. And in Karnataka, we have a scheme called as Kusinamane, which is 100% state funded scheme. It is not under Palana. It is not under PM Palana, 100% state funded. And this is applicable only to rural women, and the age of the child should be less than 3 years. See, here it is 6 months to 6 years. There it is just 3 years. Okay. And then it is not implemented across all rural areas also. Government has selected only 4,000 gram panchayats, and the first ones to receive this will be the gram panchayats of best performing districts. Will get it early. The scheme will be implemented firstly in the best performing districts. Okay. So in this scheme, what you can see is there is convergence between RDPR and Ministry of Women and Child Development. This is somewhat a kind of unique scheme. Okay. This is somewhat a unique scheme. Fine. And there are some very important facts. Taken from the ACER report. And ACER report is published by an NGO called as Pratham. Okay. Annual Survey of Education Report in India. It's published by an NGO called as Pratham. So if KPSC tries to fool you that it is published by Ministry of Education or CBSE or NCRT, it is all false. It is published by an NGO called as Pratham. Okay. So under this Pratham, ACER report, there has been some very important facts. This report says that more than 50% children in the age group below 6 years, they get their pre-primary education at Anganwadi centers. They get their pre-primary education at Anganwadi centers. Okay. Across the nation, not just in Karnataka, across India. And second, very important thing they say is, that is the enrollment rate. Means if there are 100 children, how many of them will go to for pre-primary education? Is around 78%. The enrollment rate for pre-primary education is around 78%. Okay. Right. If there are 100 children in India, around 78% of them goes to pre-primary education, and some of them directly enter into first standard, second standard. Not 100 of them will go to pre-primary education, Anganwadi or any pre-KG, private school, nothing. So 22% are completely dropped out of pre-primary education. So this is what the survey says. And there is one more small point with regard to National KAS scheme, PM Palna scheme. That is, see, this scheme will provide two other important elements. One is the care for 7.5 hours per day and 26 days per month. The care will be provided for 7.5 hours per day and 26 days per month. Okay. And in these creches, the children will get the nutrition support plus the pre-primary education. Means they will be given food there. They will also be given food there. Plus there will be health monitoring. Means there will be regular checkups and all. And all this will be provided at, they are not free, they will be provided at a nominal fees. All these things will be provided at a nominal fees, not free. Because the mother is a working woman, she can pay the nominal fee. Okay. So this is not provided at a free of cost. This is provided at nominal fee. Okay. So now okay. These are simple questions. Try to answer them. Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. Is it visible? Pradhan Mantri Matru Vandana Yojana. Okay. So it is administered as a component of Mission Shakti's Samarthya sub scheme. Samarthya or Sambal? Sambal. I told you. Sambal. Okay. And cash benefit for the first child is lower than the maternity benefit entailment guaranteed under Section 4 of National Food Security Act. Women employed in regular cadre of a public sector undertaking, means employed women. Are they allowed? No. That is the very important thing which we learnt in the very first place. Okay. So, fourth statement. Second child is eligible for a cash benefit only if the child is a female. Correct. Okay. So, Samarthya or Sambal? Samarthya only. Okay, Samarthya only. And okay, maternity benefit entailment, we are not very clear about it. So apart from that, what we feel is three statements here are correct. So statement 1 is right. Statement 3 is wrong. And statement 4 is right. So this statement is also right because, see, Maternity Benefit Entitlement Act, it is given for those who are working in private sector or those who are working in the government sector. So how much they will receive? A better amount. See, this is usually given for SC, ST, BPL women. Understood? So obviously it will be less only. So you have to use the common sense. Not everything will be taught to you in the class. You have to use the common sense. So what it is saying, the cash benefit received here is usually lesser than maternity benefit entitlement. So maternity benefit entitlement is given for the women working under government sector, private sector or PSUs. Obviously they will get better entitlement. That is the reason they are not made the beneficiaries under this scheme. So this statement, if you use the common sense, you will get it right. Okay. So now, just a minute. Look at the question number 2. It is about Janani Suraksha Yojana. Janani Suraksha Yojana. It is administered by the Ministry of Women and Child Development. The first thing that I told you, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, because it is under NRHM. It is under NRHM. The first statement itself is wrong. So now, in high performing states, all pregnant women delivering in government facility are eligible regardless of income category. Wrong. Okay. A cash incentive for home delivery exists for BPL women following a Supreme Court direction. This is right. So only one statement is right. 3 only. So this is match the following kind of a thing. So you have to match it. So Thai Bhagya. So first we'll start with Thai Bhagya. Thai Bhagya is for, see, Matra Purna. It is matched already. Hot cooked meal served at the Anganwadi itself. Madi Kit. It is for in-kind benefit. So let's try to match. See, we need not match everything. First, whatever we get to know. See, we will see D is equal to 4. Where it is? It is here. It is here. A and C. So what we can do is, we can straight away scratch off B and D. Because D4, where it is matched. That is how you have to bring it down. And then C is equal to 1. So we will see C is equal to 1 here. C is equal to 3 here. So what is left? A. Understood? Simple things like this. You don't have to match everything here only. 1 or 2 things you match, come down to options, see and cancel off everything else. You will be left with 1 or 2 options. That's all. Understood? Just try to match one. So whatever is matched there, come to the options. Understood? Here we came with D4, which we were 100% sure. There is only 2 statements with D4. So other things we were able to eliminate. Then we went to C1. C1 is correct only in one place. So we got it right. So now, what are the other 2 things? A is equal to 2. Cashless delivery at MPAL and private hospitals, which we already knew. Okay. And then Prasuti RAK, second installment, conditional on government hospital delivery. Okay. So then we'll move on to the next question. So it is clustered here. Okay. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao correctly describes the institutional evolution of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. See, I told you very clearly. Stage 1, survival itself is a problem. If you are born, you can fight for survival. If you are aborted in the fetus itself, it's gone. So PCPNDT Act is there as a law to prevent it. But to create awareness, this was needed. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. So it was started in Hisar, Haryana. Sorry, it was started in Haryana only. Because the lowest rate sex ratio was recorded in Haryana. So it was started in Haryana only to create awareness. See, PM had to meet with KAP Panchayat leaders and all to convince them not to abort the. See, KAP Panchayats, you know, they are very strong. In Haryana, Punjab region, they are very strong. So their words, their decisions have got more validity than the court judgments itself there. Understood? There are out of court settlement systems there. So their words have got a lot of influence. So PM had to meet with them, convince them, request them to ensure that girl child is not aborted and all. So now, see, it was a component of integrated child protection scheme. It functions as a part of Mission Shakti's Sambal sub-scheme. Okay. So it was merged into Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, agriculture it is. It is administered exclusively by ministry. So we know this is the convergence of three ministries. Ministry of Women and Child, Health and Family, as well as Department of Education. Look at the name itself says Beti Bachao and then Beti Padao. Padao means get her educated. Department of Education will definitely be there. Okay. So now PCPNDT Act enacted in 94 came to force in 96. I told you. It permits diagnostic techniques only for detecting genetic or chromosomal abnormalities. So when you go to like hospitals, only you can detect these two things, not the gender of the fetus. It is not permitted. These things can be understood. Okay. Its validity, including the penal provisions under Section 23, was upheld by Supreme Court in Sehat versus Union of India. Just write it down. This statement you need to know. Just write it down. This is one additional bit of information. Write it down. See here, all three statements are correct. Statement 1, Statement 2, Statement 3. All three of them are correct. Statement 3, write it down with PCPNDT Act. See, this was a famous case where an NGO, okay, had challenged some private diagnostics lab detecting the gender of the fetus and all. In the name of finding out genetic or chromosomal abnormalities, they were detecting the gender of the fetus. So it had went there and the matter got solved in a very good way. Okay. So Matru Chaitanya is best described as, is it related to delivery at private hospital? No. Delivery at private hospital, Thai Bhagya plus. Okay. And then India's first state-led postpartum means post-delivery mental health screening program for pregnant and lactating women. Correct? No? Okay. Central sector scheme? No. And nutrition rehabilitation scheme? No. Okay. So this statement is about Janani Shishu Suraksha Karyakrama. Janani Shishu Suraksha Karyakrama. Name itself says both pregnant and lactating women plus infant up to 1 year. Here infant up to 1 year, not up to 2 or 3 years, up to 1 year only. Providing free ultrasound facilities to all pregnant women. All extreme word. Extreme words are usually wrong. Secondly, eliminating out-of-pocket expenditure for pregnant women and sick infants. Correct? No? So we got to know this. Establishing national seed vault. Okay. Regulating sex-selective diagnostic technologies. This is PCPNDT. Sex-selective diagnostics. Okay. So this is PCPNDT. Now we'll move on to Mission Indradhanush. Following statements about Mission Indradhanush. So it started as an immunization against 7 vaccine preventable diseases. We wrote down. I gave you a list also. HMD, P2T2. I gave you the list also. So it started. So universal immunization program currently covers 12 vaccine preventable diseases, we told. So under IMI 5.0, 12 diseases are covered. And was the first edition to be extended to every district in the country. So, and then that is also hepatitis B was added to the universal immunization program in 2007 and pneumococcal diseases in 2017. This is a fact. And write this down, write this fact down, fourth point. Write this fact down. Here, all 4 statements are correct. Okay. So, first 2 we directly discussed. First 3 we directly discussed. Fourth one, this was about history, like universal immunization program, which disease was added. Okay. So, this is 2007 UPSC prelims. So, this is about National Nutrition Mission. The other name is Poshan. Okay. PM Poshan, National Nutrition Mission. So, this is about create awareness related to malnutrition among adolescent girls, pregnant women and nursing mothers, to reduce the incidence of anemia among young children, adolescent girls and women, to promote the consumption of millets, cereals and unpolished rice, to promote exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of infancy. So, the fourth statement, what is it? It is there in Ma also. It is there in Ma also. So, see here, which thing seems to be made up? Third one is made up. See, I'll tell you the question architecture here. How they have framed the question. Statement 1, very generic. Awareness creation. They are not giving any funds. They are not transferring something. They are not talking about any beneficiaries. They are just telling awareness generation. Correct. Second statement, true. I told you about IFA, no? Iron and folic acid, tablet, syrup, everything. So that was there. And I also told you a fact, 57% of women in India have anemia. And third statement, to promote the consumption of millets, coarse cereals and unpolished rice. So, why unpolished? More nutrition would be there. And see, if it is just millets, no, this would have been almost true. The moment they added cereals and rice, see, India, we have a carbohydrate rich diet. Our diet is deficit of proteins and micronutrients. We have carb rich diets. So, everything that we eat, like race based things, it is all carbohydrates only. Just look at it from the nutrition angle. So, this we already have plenty. Probably if they have just mentioned millets, no, this would have been correct. But that itself proved the statement wrong. As I told you, one part of the statement will be right, other part will be wrong. And look at the flow. Look at the flow. See, second statement, they are talking about malnutrition. Third statement, they are telling, if you eat this malnutrition can be addressed. See, architecture, they are trying to convince you. So, they are telling a problem and they are also giving a solution. But this solution is a made up solution. Imagine if they have given IFA, syrups and tablets. Correct only? Correct, no? It would have been correct. But UPSC is trying to make up the things here. Okay? To promote exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of infancy. It is just awareness. Ma. That's all. Okay? So, the next thing. Which of the following services under Anganwadi services are delivered by Health Ministry? It is also right. See, it is just about awareness. Okay. So, Ma is also a subcomponent of it. So, they will try to see. It is just about awareness. 1, 2 and 4 is right. Third statement is wrong. And look at this. There are multiple things that are delivered by under ICDS. And under ICDS, which are delivered by Health Ministry. So, Health Ministry, what they can do? Immunization, health checkup and referral services. Immunization, health checkup and referral services. Any option with that? 2, 3, 4. Correct. Funding pattern of Anganwadi services. Funding pattern of Anganwadi services. Is it 90:10? No. See, nutrition component, this is true, 50-50. Nutrition component, 50-50. I have written it earlier. But other things, 60-40. 90-10 only for special category states. Okay. So, here second statement is right. So, with reference to Mission Saksham Anganwadi and Portion 2.0, so which of the following services have been subsumed under this umbrella? So, Anganwadi services, and then scheme for adolescent girls, and then Poshan Abhiyan. Poshan Abhiyan. So, what is the only thing that is left? What is the only thing that is left? Janani Suraksha Yojana. So, it is not there. And then Ksheerabhagya scheme in Karnataka is most accurately characterized as what? A component of Mission Saksham and Anganwadi Portion 2.0. So, I have highlighted and also told you explicitly that this can be the trap here. Secondly, wholly state funded scheme delivered through, here there is an extreme word, wholly state funded 100%, but still that is the fact, it. Okay. And third one, it is a centrally sponsored scheme. Not at all. Last one, subcomponent of Rashtriya Gokul mission. So, Kshira, Gokul, related, they are trying to fool you. That's all. Okay. So, now it is about stage 3. Palna scheme. Earlier, National Krishi scheme. So, what was there? It is now administered as the component of Mission Shakti Samarthya sub-scheme. Correct. It covers children aged 6 months to 6 years, irrespective of mother's employment status. Not at all. See, if a mother is unemployed, she is staying at home, she wants to watch serial, child may be disturbing her, she'll take and leave it there. So that is the reason government has mentioned the condition. In a month, she should be employed for at least 15 days. In a year, she should be employed for at least 6 months. So every day, they'll take care of the children for 7.5 years. They'll also provide nutritional services, health checkup, plus learning support. So all these things will be there. Funding pattern, normal only. Okay. So what is right? Question 14. 1 and 3 is right. Okay. And then Kusinamane and Palna, what is the difference? So this type of question can be asked. So Kusinamane only related to rural, children age only up to 3 years, and state funded, 100% state funded. Okay. So see, Kusinamane is exclusively for urban, wrong. Palna is exclusively for rural, wrong. No substantial difference between both the schemes. So if you don't know, that is what we will mark. Hey, Allah Vande Guru. Fine. So first one, Kusinamane central scheme, wrong. So statement 2 is the most correct one. So covers children up to 3 years in rural Karnataka, and Palna is a broader central scheme covering 6 months to 6 years. Okay. And they can also test you about Maternity Benefit Amendment Act. So which ministry? I have already told you, Labor and Employment Ministry. So now, with regard to early childhood care and education in Karnataka's Anganwadi system, which of the following statement is correct? So early childhood care, Anganwadi services. Read it. See, early childhood care is nothing but pre-KG education that they were getting, nutrition support plus education that they were getting. So it is only new scheme unrelated to the previous ICD system. No, it is related only. So Anganwadi since 1975 they were delivering the similar services. They gave a new name to it, that's all. It's a modern designation for the preschool non-formal education service that was provided. True. It applies to children 6 years and above. No. Anganwadi only less than 6 years. Okay. And it is administered exclusively by the Ministry of Education. No. Okay. So Anganwadi services, they're always in confluence with Ministry of Women and Child Development as well as Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Okay. So exclusively, no, it is not there. So what we will do? The next class, we'll move on to stage 4, stage 5, 6 and 7. So now these four stages, read it again and again. So let me try to summarize everything, whatever we have learned so far, so that nothing remains confusing for you. See, stage 1, PCP and DT, as well as Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and at the central level, we saw Pradhan Mantri, Matru Vandana Yojana, and then Janani Suraksha Yojana, Janani Shishu Suraksha Yojana, and then Mother's Absolute Affection. And at the state level, what did we see? Prasuti RIK, Tayi Bhagya plus Matrupurna and Matru Chaitanya. So they are completely 100% state funded. Okay. So here there is no limit on the number of childbirths, and it is very similar to JSY. You know this. Okay. And then with regard to stage 2, we studied about mission Indradhanush, and then intensive mission Indradhanush 5.0. Okay. And then Rashtriya Bala Swasthya Karyakram, and then ICDS. So ICDS we also understood. This was the earlier form of, there was Poshan, and now there is Poshan 2.0 plus Saksham Anganwadi. Okay, we understood this. We also understood the difference between all of them. Okay, so this is the only scheme implemented in all 100% districts, and then it will address 12 diseases. When it started, 7 diseases. Okay, and then we also have Anemia Mukt Paustik Karnataka scheme. So where they'll give iron and folic acid tablets. And then we also studied about Shira Bhagya. See, Shira Bhagya 100% state funded, and we saw it being implemented at Anganwadi level as well as school level. So Anganwadi level 150 ml and 200 ml for normal, 200 ml for underweight. So this was for 6 days per week. Here 18 gram milk powder was given. How many days? 5 days per week. And in across 13 districts, they'll also provide egg, Motte Bhagya. So we'll discuss about that in the next class. Fine. And then we went to stage 3. So what was there in stage 3? We studied about Karnataka Montessori program, Karnataka Montessori program, and then PM Palana. PM Palana, it is across all states and districts, not just rural or urban. And we also saw the limitations of it. So any working women, like any women working for more than or equal to 15 days per month, or any working woman 6 months per year, so they can 7 hours at Krishi, where there will also be the support for learning, nutrition plus health checkup. Okay, so in Karnataka we have something called as Kusina money. See, 100% state funded, and this is only for rural Karnataka. And here the age limit is 6 months to 6 years. Here the age limit is only up to 3 years. This is only for rural women. Okay, and it will be implemented in 4,000 gram panchayats, first in the districts that are best performing. It will be first implemented in the best performing districts. Okay, so this is a summary of whatever we studied so far. We also learned it along with the traps as well as the elimination things. Okay, so now in the next class we'll study about stage 4, stage 5, 6 and 7. So once we complete it, then we'll proceed into agriculture. And similarly, agriculture also have thematically organized everything. And see, we are not just covering the budget, we are covering union budget, state budget, union economic survey, state economic survey, plus some updates from the current affairs as well. Okay, so everything is getting covered comprehensively. You don't have to worry. So what you have to do is to revise these things again and again. Okay, so this is all for today. We'll continue in the next Sunday. Okay, thank you all.